Welcome to Leopard King Flicks, your #1 online media platform. Welcome to Second Chance with Leopard King. It is such a privilege and an honor to have this conversation with you because you are special, you're very important to me. You mean a lot, and it is the reason that I have brought these conversations to your doorstep, right into your car, to your house, to your office, and wherever else that you might be, so that you can get this transformational information that you don't get anywhere else. Welcome back, dear viewer. So I am going to explain Second Chance in 4 different dimensions, and I hope that one of the dimensions or perspectives is going to make meaning to you, is going to awaken something in you that you are going to find a rebirth from within. Welcome to Leopard King Flicks, your #1 online media platform. Welcome back. So many people will discuss the concept of second chance as that opportunity that you find to correct a mistake from the past or to make amends in errors and mistakes or failures that you may have encountered in the past, and therefore you have another opportunity, another go, another shot at things that you have failed to achieve before, mistakes that you have done, or targets that you just did not achieve. And all that is true, all that is correct, all that is right. I just want to add 3 other dimensions to second chance, because I will then be discussing it in the context of all those 3 dimensions, adding to these as 4 different dimensions. So the first dimension is what you've already had. It's everything to do with failed targets, mistakes, errors, disappointments. But also, a second chance has everything to do with missed opportunities. There are opportunities in your life that you could have missed out before because you either couldn't afford it or because you just didn't have mentorship in order for you to see the opportunities that were around you. You don't have to just give up to fate and call it that it's all gone. No, there may be another way in which you can gain fulfillment on opportunities that you have missed out before. Well, you may have been advanced in age. So let's say, for example, you desire to be a journalist or you desire to be a sportsman, and you missed that opportunity. But today, it doesn't mean that because your age is a little advanced, it doesn't mean that you can't find fulfillment in all that altogether. You can fulfill yourself through mentorship. You can mentor the young generation in the area where you missed that particular opportunity. And trust you me, there is a fulfillment that it brings to you, and there is a wholeness and a completeness that it makes in your life. So it makes you whole, it makes you complete, that you feel you are complete enough to be able to push yourself to the next frontier of life. Another aspect of second chance is what I may call untapped potential. The other area of a second chance refers to untapped potential. So there are potentialities within us that we may never have discovered in the course of life. So these potentials were with us when we were in primary school, high school, campus, got married, and all that. But then at a certain point in life, either through the processes of coaching and mentorship, through the process of finding yourself in leadership opportunities that you didn't have before, you then get to discover that you had such unique potentialities that contribute something that is unique, something that is just special about you. I am opening up your eyes and opening up your mind to realize that anytime you discover that there is potential in you which you have not tapped sufficiently, then it means it is time for you to bring out that potential. It means that it is time for you to offer yourself a second chance, which basically means offer yourself a chance to live the life that you have been living, but also throw yourself into the deep sea and manifest this potential that has been in you, which has been wasted all along. There are people who have many talents in them, and they probably just made use of one talent, and another talent, brings itself to the surface that had not been tapped. Maybe it had everything to do with your environment, but now you find yourself in an environment where you can put this potential to the test and to the road and to the amazement of the world. Hey, I'm challenging you that just bring it on and let it burn.
Welcome to Leopard King Flicks, your #1 online media platform.
Welcome back. So I would like us to dive into the details of second chance and explore what a second chance really means. Another angle of second chance that we'll be exploring is what I call the unimagined potential. The unimagined potential refers to something that society and community has already given up on, has already made a stereotype about situations. So they say if you are visually challenged, if you're physically handicapped, or you have a condition, then society has already put a limit, has already put a threshold beyond which society does not expect that you would thrive. But then, what does a second chance mean? A second chance means that you get the right information, you get the right motivation, and finally you get the right tools that can actually make you to thrive despite your challenges, despite your limitations, and despite your circumstances, which otherwise the people around you may have defined for you just how far that you can go. And so we will be exploring all these together. Having shared with you the 4 major templates of second chance like I have just done, I would like to wrap it up by doing some icing on the cake by sharing with you 2 worldviews of second chance, because these worldviews are the perspectives that are supposed to help us even as we advance the conversations of the topic of second chance. So the first perspective is that second chance is where we give people an opportunity. We are gracious towards other people. We can see the struggles of other people and we empathize with them. We can see that they are trying to make effort, but if we did a little pushing for them, if we opened the door a little for them, if we gave them a little shot in the arm, then they may be able to manifest the second chance that they so much seek. And so this perspective of second chance is a perspective that is outward, where it is flowing from empathy, it's flowing from within, and we are giving a second chance to the people around us. We're giving second chance to our brothers, to our sisters, to our workmates. You are a boss, you're giving a second chance to your juniors and the people that you work with. You are you are a parent, you are giving a second chance to your children because they are bound to make mistakes. You are a community leader, a church leader. People err, people make mistakes, and therefore you are a community leader, you're a church leader, you're an institutional leader. People make mistakes every other time. Rather than write them off and throw away the baby with the bathwater, is there something that you can do to allow the baby come out of the water so that the baby can experience the second chance? The other perspective and the other dimension is a self-granted second chance, and that is something that many people do not pay attention to. It has everything to do with self-love. We are capable of forgiving other people when they err, but we don't forgive ourselves. We judge ourselves too harshly. We are capable of advancing favors to other people, but we hardly advance favors to ourselves. We are capable of empathizing and sympathizing with other people when they fall short of their targets, but we judge ourselves so harshly. We write ourselves off. And that is a big error that we do. So I'll conclude this with a small story that is known already. It's a biblical story about the prodigal son. So, the story of the prodigal son is about a father who had two sons, and the younger son came to the father and said, "Give me my share of inheritance." And the father gave him his share of inheritance. He went to a far country, and first of all, he spent his money on booze and had fun. But later there was famine in that particular country, and he began being in want. He went, sought for employment opportunities, and he couldn't find any except that he worked in a particular home where he was assigned to go and look after swines. He desired that anybody should give him food, and nobody gave him that particular food. The only food that he found were the pods, the lefts and the leftovers and the remnants of the food that was given to the pigs. And this young man got to his senses, and the Bible records and says, he asked himself, "How many of my father's servants have enough to eat and wine and leftovers, while I am suffering here? Why don't I then go to my father and ask him to just hire me as a servant? I'm working here as a servant. Let my father just hire me as a servant. At least I know that I will eat better. I know that I will eat like his servants, which is much better than the life that I'm having here with pigs." That is what I call self-love. That is what I call as we will be discussing the content of this book, one of the other subjects that I discuss is the topic of identity. And the young man discovered who he was. He discovered that he was better than this. He discovered that he had a heritage and a lineage, and he belonged somewhere. He belonged to some family, and that family had everything that it takes to give him a cool life, even if it meant that he works like a servant. But then look at this other brother who remained behind. In the Bible, it is recorded that when the prodigal son came, the father received him and he threw a big party for him. So there was loud music, and there was a calf that was slaughtered, and it was merry, and people were having fun. And so when the elder brother came from the farm and he heard the mahewa, he heard the music, he had the groove of the dance, he refused to get in. Because he was told, "It's your brother." And while he was annoyed and angry, the father came to him to persuade him to come in. And the father asked him, "What's up?" And he told the father that, "I've labored for you. I have worked for you. I've worked my ass off all these days for you. But you've never let me even slaughter the youngest goat to marry with my friends." Listen to what the father told him. The father told him that, "Son, when I gave half of my inheritance to your brother, the other half that remained was yours. And if you wanted to slaughter as many goats as possible, if you wanted to throw the biggest party in town, you could have done it because it was yours all the same." What am I saying? I am trying to advance an argument here that most at times we suffer not because of external forces, but because of internal bondage that we subject ourselves to. Most at times we go hungry not because there wasn't food within our vicinity, but we just didn't see ourselves worthy of having that food. Most at times we are miserable, we are sad, and we are crying not because we couldn't make merry and be happy with ourselves, not because it was not possible for us to be happy in our skin, not because it was not without our reach for us to be able to grasp that moment of happiness and that moment of joy and celebrate our little wins and celebrate our lives and have a good life. But we thought that we were not deserving of that. We thought that it was not for us to take. It was not ours to partake. It was not ours to take as an opportunity. No, my brother, my sister, I'm here to tell you that much of the burdens that we carry in our hearts, our minds, and in our souls is everything to do with our mindset, is everything to do with the programming of our mind. And we have been programmed to believe that the good things are not for us, the best things are not for us, that the way to show love is to give the best to other people at our expense and to our total exclusion. No, you must give yourself a second chance this time around by having self-care and self-love and believing that you deserve good things and you can go for good things. If you go dating a good guy, they say you are a gold digger. But who wants poverty in the first place? I mean, everybody wants good things for themselves. So go date the right guys, go date the right girls, go for the right job opportunities. The best job opportunities in town, they belong to you. The best business opportunities in town, they belong to you. The best produce in the farm, it belongs to you. You are a child of the Most High God, deserving of everything that this life can give. And so thank you for listening to this broadcast about Second Chance with Leopard King, as we dive to the next frontier, where we now start to discuss the tools, the powerful tools that will make it count.
Welcome to Leopard King Flicks, your #1 online media platform.
Welcome back, my special viewer and listener. So today, allow me to introduce you to the conversation of second chance in the context of basic human emotional needs. I will explain that shortly. We all have basic human emotional needs, just that we don't know sometimes. And I would like to wrap in the two worldviews in such a way that once you know what your basic emotional needs are, it means that you are going to align yourself, you're going to position yourself, you're going to place yourself strategically in environments that allow you to experience your emotional needs, and therefore grant yourself a second chance to experience life whereby your emotional needs are being met. The second prism is that when you know basic human emotional needs, then you will know how to conscientiously extend these needs to the people around you, whether it's your children, whether it's your parents, your spouse, your workmates, or your friends. You will be able to extend to them the empathy of allowing them to experience life with their human needs having been met by you, therefore giving them their experience of a second chance. The best way to interrogate this is to just break down what the human emotional needs are, and we have the major ones and then we have the minor ones, but all of them are very important. The major ones are, and I will say them in form of a question: how are you? Do you feel happy? Yes or no? Do you feel peaceful? Yes or no? Do you feel fulfilled? Yes or no? Do you feel confident about yourself and about your future? Yes or no? Those are the main human emotional needs that every man, woman, child, or adult needs to experience. We all need to feel happy wherever we are. And so whenever we don't feel happy, then we have to do everything possible that will make us feel happy. There are situations and scenarios where we may be able to do something about, in terms of change our environment, change our friends. If you are in a set of friendships that do not make you happy, you can change your friends so that you are with a set of friends that make you happy. If you are with a spouse that makes you unhappy all the time, most of the time, then you have the power to be able to remove yourself from that particular relationship. But we also have scenarios whereby you may not be happy, you may not be feeling happy, and you technically may not be able to effectively remove yourself from that situation. So, for example, you may hardly remove yourself from your parents. You may hardly remove yourself from your siblings under one household as children. And what that means is that if you cannot remove yourself from that environment, then you have to do substitution, which means that you need to find a new source of energy that is going to bring happiness into your soul, that is going to pour into you to feel happy. If you are not feeling peaceful, if you don't have peace, then you need to find out the source of your conflict. You need to find out, why are you anxious? Why are you angry? Why are you without peace? Why do you feel threatened? And you need to do something about it. You need to find healing. You need to find help. You need to find support. So if the reason as to why you are not peaceful is because of another person, then ask yourself or ask somebody else, what avenues exist that can help you to address the threats, to address the anxiety that emanates from that other person. If your lack of peace has anything to do with your actions, has anything to do with your environment, then it is possible for you to change your actions. It is possible for you to moderate your actions. If it is as a result of the actions of the other person, then it is possible for you to remove yourself from that equation, to remove yourself from the presence of that person or those people, to remove yourself from that environment that makes you lack peace. If it is our children and they find themselves in a school environment where they are either not happy or they are not at peace, we should find out why and address those challenges when we can. And if they are beyond our ability to address, then we should possibly seek an alternative for our children. Do you feel fulfilled? Are you fulfilled in your job? Are you fulfilled in your career? Are you fulfilled with your life? Are you fulfilled in your marriage? Are you fulfilled in your journey as a parent? Are you fulfilled in living your life purpose? If the answer is no, then you need to join the camp of researchers and find out why that is the case. Find out what the gaps are. Find out what is missing in your life. Find out what is it that you are not doing right. What is it that you have not been able to do and maybe you should have done? What is it that other people are supposed to have poured into you to feel fulfilled and probably they have not done that? And you need to ask yourself that, is there somebody out there who has what it takes to pour into you? Some of us may not be fulfilled with our lives because we make 2 steps in front and we make 3 steps backward. So no matter how much effort we put in our ministry, no matter how much effort we put in our business, we keep going back and sliding back and going backwards, and we don't see progress. A lot of us are feeling less fulfilled by the day because the efforts that we put in our business, the effort that we put in our marriage, in our children, in our ministry, in our studies or pursuits of life just doesn't seem to be rewarding us, just doesn't seem to be rising to the occasion or manifesting progress or prosperity. And we are asking ourselves, where did we go wrong? Tulikosea wapi? Now, it means that it's a high time that you join the camp of researchers to find out what is wrong, what is missing, why am I not fulfilled? Is it because I am in the wrong trajectory when I should be pursuing a different trajectory altogether? Is it because I am putting my mindset and my effort and my energy in the wrong area for this season? What do I mean? Our life is a cycle of seasons. So there is a season of planting, there's a season of watering, there's a season of harvesting, there's a season of drying, and there's a season of selling. So probably when other people were selling, you did not sell, and now the prices have come low. You need to ask yourself, is your fulfillment or lack of it because you have stock that you did not sell at the right time? It was winter stock and you did not sell it during winter. You are now selling it during summer, and during summer people are looking for a different set of products altogether. You need to ask yourself, is it because you are surrounding yourself with people who do not pour into you but only take from you? We feel less fulfilled sometimes because we surround ourselves with people who only take from us. They are always sending us asking us to contribute to their projects. They are asking us to contribute to whatever they are doing. They are calling us to show up for what they want, whatever it is that they are doing for themselves, for their parents, for their church, or they are calling on us to give to them. They are calling on us to show up for them, but they hardly show up for us. Sometimes we feel less fulfilled simply because we've surrounded ourselves with people whom we consider to be friends, but in actual sense they are just suckers. They suck energy from us, they suck money from us, they are always keeping us busy, asking us to do an assignment for them or another, putting us on their errands every other time, but they never pour back into our lives. There are friends who will always come to you full time, asking you to contribute to whatever it is they are doing, contribute to their projects, contribute to the home projects, contribute to the church projects, contribute to the projects they are doing for their parents, contribute to their own personal projects. But just check the list, just look backwards and ask yourself, when did this person ever show up for you? When did this person ever voluntarily come up to you and give you a gift, or voluntarily come up to you and say, hey man, you are special in my life and I just wanted to spend this day with you. I just wanted to spend some time with you and enjoy your presence and enjoy your friendship. When is it that they last showed up for you? There are friends whom if you need a favor from them, they will charge you exorbitantly, and if you sought their assistance to charge you at a friendly price or even pro bono, they will not, but they will ask you to provide them with services, and they will not be willing to pay, or they will not pay at all. These are some of the things that make us feel less fulfilled in our lives. So we need to ask ourselves, what is causing us to be less fulfilled? Another thing that makes us to feel less fulfilled is the question of who is speaking into your life, who is pouring into your life, and what have they spoken into your life. Now, if you are going out of your way to do good to people, of course the Bible says just do good and walk away. Tenda wema, nenda zako. But we all know that we deserve and desire gratitude. So if you are busy helping people who do not have gratitude, who will never say thank you, who will receive your help and immediately after receiving your help go to whine and complain about what you've given them and say it was too little, whether they are your parents, because I know of parents who receive from their children and all they do is to receive and say, but it is too little, I wish it was more than that, yet it was your best effort to consider supporting them. I know of parents whose children have invested so much in them, done so much for them, sacrificed so much for them, endured so much pain for their parents, and yet those very parents were audacious enough to speak to their faces, back to their very faces, that they did nothing for them, it was not worth anything, or it was probably for some malicious reason, or for some reason that was well-meaning for them, and they refuse to acknowledge the fact that you actually assist them, you actually sacrificed for them. There are people for whom you will sacrifice so much. There are spouses for whom you will sacrifice so much. You will house them and house their relatives, house their sisters, house their brothers, support them in their general livelihood, walk the journey of life with them, stand up for them, fight for them when it is necessary, protect and defend them when it was necessary, and they will audaciously come back to your face and ask you, show me exactly what you did, because to them only money is what could have translated to you doing something for their lives. These are the things that make us less fulfilled, because if we do good to people, if we do good to our brothers, if we do good to our sisters, if we do good to our friends, if we do good to our workmates, if we do good to our parents and to our spouses, and they are gracious enough to show us the gratitude and to show us appreciation, because appreciation is a minor. I said there's major and then there are minors. Appreciation is one of those emotional needs, even though on a minor scale. So when people appreciate what you are doing, you get fulfilled that you are doing something. But when you sacrifice and do a lot for people and they discount it and dismiss it, then they deny you an opportunity to be fulfilled. Yet, if only they accepted the value that you have brought to their lives, if only they could appreciate the value that you bring to their lives, if only they could even tell you on your face that they are grateful for your contribution or for the roles that you have played in their lives, you will feel fulfilled on account of the fact that you did it and they appreciate it. But when they do not appreciate, they take away your ability to feel satisfied and to feel fulfilled, and they cause you to have an emptiness. So what do you therefore do? Two things. If you are the kind of a person who has not been extending your gratitude and your appreciation to the people around you for the little things that they do for you, then please go ahead and do it so that they can feel fulfilled, for fulfillment is a major part of emotional human needs. But again, if you are the person who has been extending it to other people and they don't show appreciation, they don't show gratitude, they rub it in your face that if anything, maybe you did it for a different ulterior motive altogether, then just walk away. Walk away and find something else to do to somebody else who counts, who will appreciate, even if it is a stranger. What is your confidence? What is your confidence level? What is your self-esteem like? How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel okay? Do you feel complete? Do you feel confident with yourself when you walk around? Do you feel enough? Do you feel like you are just good enough as you are, or you doubt yourself and your self-esteem is low? If your self-esteem is low, if you don't believe in yourself, if you are not confident with yourself, then you need to ask yourself, where is this coming from? Why is that the case? So, there is the past and there is the present. The past can affect your self-esteem and your confidence, and the present can also affect your self-esteem and your confidence. Let me talk about the past. The past means that we were all born into a family, and the responsibility of every father and mother was to show us love, to make us feel wanted, to make us feel that we belong, to make us feel that we count, we were desired, and that we were enough. The role of our parent was to affirm us, to tell us that we are beautiful, to tell us that we are intelligent, to tell us that it shall be well even when the world seemed to be falling apart around us. Now, some of us were not lucky to receive this kind of love, to receive this kind of affirmation. Some of us were not lucky to be told by our fathers and by our mothers that we are beautiful, that we are strong, that we are powerful, that we are capable. Instead, they insulted us day in, day out. They told us how stupid we are. They told us how useless we are. They told us how we will amount to nothing. We will not go far. We will not achieve anything. For some people, it was double jeopardy, that they went to school and their teachers repeated the very words that their parents had said to them and told them that they are stupid, they are slow, they cannot learn, they cannot amount to anything, and they are not good enough. So some people were not affirmed in school, some people were not affirmed by their parents, and as a result have doubted themselves all along. And woe unto you if you get married and your spouse keeps criticizing you full time, your spouse keeps looking down upon you full time, keeps breaking your ego, keeps saying things that make you feel undermined, keep talking to you in a manner that makes you hate yourself, keeps talking to you in a manner that makes you doubt yourself. And that refers to the present. So the present expanded is, what are you listening to? What are people saying to you at work? What are you listening to? What signs are being shoved at you at work, at home, in church, and in your places of common gathering? What are people saying to you? And the things that they say, how do they make you feel about yourself? Because these are the things that will determine whether you will be confident about yourself or not. These are the things that will contribute into your confidence. These are the things that will contribute to how you perceive yourself and how you conduct yourself. And allow me just wrap this up by kind of giving a solution that there's something we call self-concept. So self-concept is a combination of three things. It is a combination of how people view you. So all those who have said things about you, those who have said how good you are or how useless you are, how talented you are, how clumsy you are, how slow you are or how smart you are. The second aspect of self-concept is, how do you feel about yourself? What do you say about yourself? Do you recognize your abilities? Do you recognize your capabilities? Do you recognize your talents? Do you recognize your strengths or even your weaknesses? What is your level of self-awareness that you can be able to give an account of yourself? What will you say about yourself, to yourself or to anyone else? But above it all, since you already have an opinion about yourself and your self-image, and people also have an idea about you, what wraps it up is, how do you perceive the things that people say about you vis-a-vis what you know about yourself? If the views of other people about you are just as negative as you perceive yourself, or if the views of other people about you supersede or are negatively superior to the positive views that you have about yourself, then you will develop a negative self-image. And a negative self-image is what contributes to low self-esteem. What makes positive or a positive what makes you confident, what makes you to be confident about yourself, is when you have a positive self-image and you are able to perceive the opinions of other people about you in such a way that you can sift through it to maintain a positive self-image despite what other people may view of you. That is what builds confidence. A positive self-image is what builds confidence in a person. So where do you find yourself? What do you say about your confidence? Now that I've spoken about the other emotional needs that I may consider to be major, which is happiness, peace, fulfillment, and confidence, there are other emotional needs that are part and parcel of what every human being needs to experience. And so remember the worldview that as you listen to these, you need to be asking yourself whether you are extending a second chance to somebody else to experience life with these needs on the table, or you are allowing yourself to experience them either by finding a way to nicely and wisely ask that you can receive of these needs from the people around you, or just substitute them and find another place where you can have these needs being met. So I'm talking about, first of all, I'm talking about appreciation. Everybody needs and desires to be appreciated for what they do. So if people do something good for you, appreciate them. And if the people that you are doing good to do not appreciate you, then they are denying you an opportunity to be fulfilled. Then you take your help elsewhere. Take your help to other people who will appreciate what you are doing. The other thing is contribution. Now, people always argue about, for example, giving in church, whether it's tithes, offering, first fruit, alms, and all those. Yeah, it all boils down to contribution. It is a universal principle that we all need to give back to the universe. We need to give something to the universe so that the universe can, rotate and revolve its worth. And so every human being feels okay or feels complete when they are able to contribute something. And I'm not just talking about money. In the family setup, every member of the family wants to contribute. Of course, in our general family setups, it is only those who have money or those who have gone to school to advanced levels that have much more say, that have much more to contribute, and the others are ignored. That is wrong. Every family should find a way of accommodating everybody so that everybody feels that they are appreciated and everybody in the family feels that they have something to contribute.
Welcome to Leopard King Flicks, your #1 online media platform.
I know for a fact that in our societal setup, it is only those people who either have money or have advanced in their education that have more contribution in terms of say, opinions in the family. But that is wrong. Every family should find a way of making everybody count. Every family should find a way of making sure that everybody is given an opportunity to contribute to the affairs of that particular family, to have a say in whatever that is happening, irrespective of their economic bearing. And that's what I mean by contribution. It's contribution by ideas. It's contribution through material givings. And so, if you realize that you are not being allowed to contribute in your family, if you realize that you're not being allowed to contribute your ingenuity, your brilliance, and your talent, even in your marital situation, then it is okay for you to take that contribution elsewhere, because it's important that you contribute for your own emotional well-being. Help the needy. Do charity here. Whether you are helping kids to go to school, whether you are helping them with a skill, whether you are helping them with mentorship, whether you are helping them with spiritual nourishment, helping them with their talents, giving them counseling, or helping them with food and material things and clothing, just make sure that you have something to contribute. It is a human need. Volition is another basic human need. Every human being desires to do whatever it is that they do out of free will. Not as a slave who is being coerced to do it, not as a prisoner whose rights have been taken away, but as somebody who is doing with their dignity intact, with their freedom intact, and out of their free will. Why? Because anything that you do out of your free will is something that you will enjoy doing, even if it's a difficult thing. If you did it out of volition, then you will enjoy doing it, number one. Number two is that if you do something out of free will, then technically, in the eventuality of it, you will feel fulfilled that you did what you had to do. Why? Because you did it freely. You did it out of free will, and you did it out of volition. So volition is a basic human need. Even at family level, we talk about husband and a wife relationship where the wife is expected to submit to the husband. This submission is supposed to be voluntary. It is supposed to be out of volition, because if you have to extort it, if you have to force it, if you have to beat it down into the head of your spouse, then it actually means that they are not submissive after all. Even if they obey whatever it is that you are forcing upon them or imposing upon them to do, if it is not coming from within, then it is not submission. It is not gain to them. It is also not gain to you. The most important thing is that you should possibly give them the freedom, give them the space to do whatever it is that they can do out of volition. And if they cannot do that voluntarily, then you actually have a useless person for a spouse. Why? Because it means that no matter what you do, they will not be able to give you that essential companionship out of their volition, and that they will only do the things they are expected to do only when they are forced, only when they are coerced, only when they have ultimatums put on their head and when they have threats put on their head. And the same thing goes even for men. So people think that because women are the ones who are expected to submit to men, people generally think that then it is only women who are struggling with the concept and the aspect of volition, because their men are all over them, seeking them to submit to their will, to their direction, and to their authority. I may surprise you that there are more men who are suffering with being coerced by their women than the women would complain. A lot of men are being coerced because, first of all, there are certain wives who are all over their husbands. They're criticizing everything that you're doing. They're standing in the way of everything that you want to do. You make an attempt to do one thing, they come and tell you how it is not the right thing, how it is risky, how you should do it exactly like they would have done it. They would then tell you what you should do in the stead of what you wanted to do. And if you don't do what they wanted you to do, they will withhold their affection, withhold sex, and you will not know peace in that particular house. They will show you drama until you do exactly like they have done. So they will not force you, they will not cajole you, they will not impose themselves on you like a man will do if the reverse were to be true. But then they just use the power of a woman to actually manipulate their men to do their bidding, while all this time they are standing in the way of everything that their men are trying to do for themselves. They are the biggest critics of their spouses. They are the biggest what do you call somebody who's sarcastic? They mock everything that their spouse does. They only clap for those things that they told their spouses to do and then they did. And if their spouse did not do, then they used everything, every power at their disposal to disrupt the life of that particular man. What am I talking about? I'm talking about volition. I'm talking about doing stuff voluntarily. So as a man, it is important for you to have a sit down with your family. If you are a parent, sit down with your children, talk to them about essentials of life, discuss everything, leave nothing under the table, bring everything to the table and discuss, but give them an opportunity to do things voluntarily. It is only when they are missing the way then you step in, but you cannot micromanage your children every left, right and center, because then you deny them their independence and they will not grow the muscle to be able to thrive in a tough world. Let them do stuff voluntarily and only step in when it is necessary or when they are missing the way. If you are a husband, allow your wife to do whatever it is that she wants to do. Give her the space to live her life voluntarily. Sit down with her, talk with her, tell her what you want, the direction that you want, tell her what is not right for you, what will be an infringement on your ego, on your authority or whatever. After you've done that, leave her and see whether she can voluntarily follow what you have said without threatening her. That is the only demonstration of submission. If she cannot do that, then you have a useless wife. The reverse is also true, that as a man, if she cannot do that, then at least now you know that you have a wife who cannot submit to you, and therefore you are going nowhere, you are heading nowhere, you can never have a life with her. The reverse is also true for men. If you are a man Sit down with your wife, listen to her thoughts, listen to her concerns, listen to her priorities, listen to her fears, listen to her concerns on everything, and then go ahead and do something about that. But now, dear woman, please stay off and allow the man to meet your needs and your concerns voluntarily. The difference is that men will use force and women will use soft power to manipulate their men out of their volition, and men will also do that to push the women out of their volition. That is not right. Talk everything, discuss everything, but at the end of it all, allow each other to exercise what they want to do voluntarily upon listening to your concerns, your desires, your priorities, and all that put together. Finally, the other needs of a human being, which are emotional in nature, is to have meaning. That is to mean, do you mean anything? Does your word count for anything? Does your presence mean for anything? Are you just furniture in the house, or do you really mean something? So the people around you should attach meaning to you. And if you feel that you are in a place where you're meaningless or nobody attaches value to you, then it is time for you to walk out and just find some other place where you have meaning. If you are in a place where nobody misses you, if you are in a church where you can be away for 3 months and nobody misses you, if you can be in a place where you can go through misfortunes and unfortunate events of life and nobody gets to know and nobody cares to check on you, then find an alternative place where somebody will care about you, such that there is value attached to you and there is a form of meaning that you bring to that particular equation. Besides meaning, another major emotional need of every human being is a sense of community. Do you belong? And this is the final one. Do you belong? Do you belong to a set of community? Do you belong to some family? So we are all born into a family of a father and a mother and siblings, or just a father and mother, and we feel that we belong. We are tied to someone. We belong to a certain societal construct where we belong. We can say it is my family, my father, my mother, my brother, my sister, my workmate. Do you belong to a community, or are you just alone? Are you alone? You should not be alone. And so this is a critical question that I'm asking you, that if you realize that you are all by yourself and you do not belong to a community, you do not have somebody that you talk to where you feel you belong to each other, if you are not in a place where people will be concerned when they do not hear from you after a long time, then it means you need to do something about it. But nonetheless, make sure you belong. So whether if you're going through a difficult time or a difficult season or something tragic in your life, find a support group. Find a support group, a group of people who are having similar challenges, so that you can share one with another. Number one. Number two, make sure you belong. We were all born into a family. There are some families that hold up together and they have each other's back. So you know that you can always go to your sister, you can always confide in your brother, you can always go to your parents, you can always call on your mother. If that system is working, then stay there, make it vibrant, and belong, and make it thrive, and thrive right within the family. But if that family is not working, find an alternative family. And that alternative family can be found in a gathering of friends, can be found in a gathering of schoolmates, alumni who are in the same year with you. It can be found in a gathering of workmates. It can be found in a gathering of churchmates. You can go belong to a church and belong to a community within that church. There are churches that have broken down their essence of belonging to like cell groups, or departments that are, serving various functions of the church, and these departments end up to be another form of a family that you can belong to. What am I saying? Don't miss the point here. The point is you must belong to a certain family. You must belong to a certain group that is concerned about each other's welfare. You must belong to a group that will be worried if they didn't see you in a long time, or if they didn't hear from you in a long time. You should belong to a group that will show up when you are in need, and a group that you can contribute to. So, do you belong? The second question will be, there are people who belong to those groups, whether it's family, whether it's church, whether it's at work, whether they're alumni or whatever it is, but then their presence in that particular group does not help them. It is to their detriment, that they are not thriving in those particular groups. So you need to belong and you need to thrive in the group. So it is a catch-22. So you need to belong first and foremost. So first and foremost, you need to belong. If you belong, first and foremost, you need to belong. After you belong, you need to thrive. If you are not thriving in those groups, then it may be a high time for you to shed off those groups whereby you are not flourishing, and put your energy and invest your resources in the groups where you are thriving. And for the groups that you dump, then add. Is a group in which you are not thriving, then begin to shed them off. Begin to shed off the groups whereby you are not thriving and substitute them with another group. So build another community. Build another sense of belonging build another sense of belonging that will replace the ones that you have shed off, so that you belong to a community and you thrive within that community. And that has been a second chance by way of meeting your human emotional needs. God bless you as we listen to the next episode. Shalom. I'm your host, Leopard King.
Welcome to Leopard King Flicks, your #1 online